Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, just dropping in to see what condition the coordinator position is in.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off of your first purchase with the only Chris Level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. I've got accustomed to some bonus time, so I'm growing a little bit demanding in what I ask of you. But wanted to pop back in for a lay of the land as we sit here this afternoon, observing the moving and the shaking, offensively and defensively for Texas Tech as they pursue new coordinators. So we'll get to maybe a few more names popping up on the radar offensively in just a moment, but want to begin with in general. I think overall this remains true for both sides, but maybe specifically even zeroing in defensively in what is a rapidly developing timeline, right? And maybe getting close to a resolution even with one of these spots.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know. We kind of laid out some timelines on maybe and maybe they were wishful timelines, but I mean, you've got some things coming up here pretty quick, depending on what you're watching this, or listening. Wednesday is National Signing Day, where you hope to ink 17 high school prospects. But then this coming Sunday, Monday is just when the portal opens, and you've got to be ready to be extremely active on getting people to come visit you and all that. But the issue there is that you need to be able to tell these players exactly what is what is who they're playing for, or what scheme, or whatever that might be. And I think that's why there's a sense of urgency in trying to get something done with one of these hires. I think that so there was at Lubbock Country Club, the Matador Club is putting on a deal, Lubbock Country Club, and then did a deal at lunch in Midland, and they're trying to educate the fan base and certain people. Cody Campbell had asked me to go. I'd sat through a presentation with his online, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, as they were preparing for these, but he asked me to go, and that was this morning. But, obviously Kirby was there, Joey was there, and all the while, and you're trying to educate your fan base on here's everything that's going on. Here's fact, here's fiction, all that. We'll get into that at some point, maybe on tomorrow's show. But part of the timeline, because I think Joey joked, he's like, man, y'all are lucky I'm here. I got a lot going on. Haha. He was kidding. But he indicated we hope to have a defensive coordinator named within the next day. And that was that's what was stated, Tuesday morning. So here's what I think they've honed in on Sheil Wood. That's what I think. I think he is the University of Houston defensive coordinator. I think he is pretty young. I think that everything has been looked into his background. I think that Sheil Wood, Coach Wood, would and maybe family or just him, I'm not real sure, will be in Lubbock fairly quickly. And I think he's kind of the guy that, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it just to be correct. I mean, I think he's the guy that will have a chance to take this job or not, kind of deal. Not that this is done, not that this is the only person that you have talked to or will talk to, but it sure seems like there's some mutual interest, it sounds like. And I think that there's a really good chance that he is your next defensive coordinator, especially when you factor in that this timetable, and that I think that there's a pretty good chance that he's coming into to Lubbock on a Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. Theoretically, could he be at the basketball game Wednesday night, or how long does he stay here? I don't really know what all that looks like, but I think something could happen fairly quickly there. And so maybe we guessed right when we did the previous coordinator show on kind of which way this side of the ball was going to go.
All right, man. Would love to have a quick and tidy resolution. Obviously, with your defensive spot and your offensive spot. So I think that would fit the definition. The offensive job staggered a little bit just by the timeline of them opening up. But Chris, it sounds like also offensively, they're interested in a very rapid timeline. So maybe not 24 hours like we're looking at on the other side, but I don't know, something out there that could get done this week. Are we thinking 10 days? Where are we at there?
Yeah, I think by the end of the week is kind of what Coach McGuire indicated, and it doesn't mean that you this is maybe your intention or what your thought is at the time. This stuff can change quickly, but I think that it's worth stating again. You would really, really like to have things in place by the end of the weekend, just so you are ready to put your best foot forward as it relates to the portal. But the most important thing is ensuring you get the right person. The right fit, the right coach, all that stuff. So let's talk through some more OC options here and just the way that this may be going. I think, as we kind of left off the last show, I think I was kind of just, heavy speculation maybe that Jake Spavital would certainly fit what you're looking for. I think that he'll, will he get a chance to say, no, I'm good. I don't want to do that. Or will he, is that, how far does that go? But I do think there will be some heavy engagement there between both parties. And people are like, because here's the dynamic on your offense. This is, I think, important to note as you relate to how you would make a hire and who. Okay. I think that largely that offensive staff, I think Joey would like to keep that intact. Kenny Perry, Josh Cochran, Juice Johnson, Clay McGuire. I think it clearly worked. I think you like your people there. And so that is a bit tricky when you bring somebody in. However, if you are somebody like Jake Spavital, you worked with Clay McGuire for 2 years at Texas State when he was the head coach, and Clay McGuire was the offensive line coach. I think about like candidate like a Jeff Grimes we were talking about on that previous episode, who's the Kansas offensive coordinator. Well, he and Josh Cochran are super tight. You think about like a Cumbie and an Eric Morris as options. They know these people here. They know Clay. I think there's a lot of familiarity there. So those are why those candidates would seemingly be smooth fits and transitions. Whereas if you get somebody that's kind of unfamiliar or hadn't worked with anybody here, maybe that you're having to do more than you would prefer. Not that you're just dead set on, we've got to keep our assistants intact and we just got to slide a coordinator in here. I'm not saying that, but I think that's maybe the wish and the goal and all those things. So keep that in mind as we talk through this. I do think at some level.
First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Never sweat buying tickets to your favorite event again with Gametime. It's always a breeze using the Gametime app where you're going to find the best last-minute deals, and I love being able to scout out a view from any seat before pulling the trigger. And of course, you're always doing it at the lowest price guaranteed. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it begins, which means you can finish off that final brat, that final beer at your own pace at the tailgate, because Gametime is the place to find last-minute seats to any event. Gametime gives you the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets, but not just fast, also secure and simple to use. So right now, download the Gametime app and create an account and use our promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today for last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
I do think at some level that Eric Morris and Sonny Cumbie are in this conversation. I think that I'm wondering, because Eric Morris just hired a defensive coordinator, somebody who was at Texas Tech previously, named Skylar Cassidy, off of that Texas State staff. And so does that mean he's just like, man, I'm still gung-ho and being the head guy at North Texas? but he and Joey are pretty tight. And I just wonder kind of what that looks like, Cowan, as you kind of try to figure it out. If I don't necessarily know who your first pick would be, but I think that at some level it's maybe, and I think Dana would have been in this deal. I really do. And now I guess he's going to stay at Nebraska for $1.2 million a year on a 2-year deal. And so that kind of takes him out. I think Arbuckle, same. So we're kind of left with the two names that we didn't discuss previously that are outside the tree, that are just young guys that have, I think, done a really good job that I think need to be mentioned is Cade Bell at Pitt and Mac Leftwich at Texas State. I think the thing about, Leftwich is he worked with Eric Morris at Incarnate Word. They coached together. Cam Ward, who would go on to Washington State, and then he would leave there and go to Miami, and he was a Heisman candidate for most of the year. Leftwich is, obviously a younger option. He's probably somebody too that would be like, heck yeah, man, I'll come in and work with who you've got. Sure. So I just don't know what all, and then finances come into this deal too. So that's what we can kind of offer up right now. But I want to say to you that I think that it'll be Jake Spavital that gets the right to say no, or is in it until he's not. Cowan, it begs the question. I'll keep rambling, but I want to bring up one more point about Spavital. But I can stop if you want to counter with anything or bring anything up. People have said, why would Spavital leave Baylor and lateral move and all that? And I certainly think that's a very fair question. I don't know the money there. He was set to make about $950 at Cal last year. I would assume, maybe incorrect, but I'm going to assume that he's probably making a bit more than that in Waco. I don't know years and contract. Baylor's private institution, don't have to release all that stuff. But I would be willing to bet money is not necessarily a thing here in making that happen. But why would he want to do that? Sometimes it's about who I work for. It's about where I want to raise my kids, family, all that stuff. It's about what gives me the best chance to elevate from here. And if he wants to be a head coach again, let's think about this. How many different OCs in the Texas Tech landscape over the last 10 to 15 years are head coaches now or went on to be head coaches? I mean, you go back, obviously when Mike had Sonny and Dana here, we know what they went on to do. Lincoln Riley was at some level, went on to do great things. But look at, the guys we're sitting here talking about now, and Sonny Cumbie and Eric Morris, and then obviously now Zach Kitley. Kevin Johns has got a good name. He was just here for a year. And so can Baylor say the same? And would it come down to that? I don't know. But those are just lots of things to consider. If you're Jake Spavital and you get this phone call and it's like, hey man, what do you think? What do you want to do? And he's got to weigh out, where do I want to go every day? Where do I want to live every day? What gives me the most upside? Money may be similar or maybe a bit better. Which head coach is going to leave me alone and let me do my thing? So I don't know. I don't know if it's something that they will go hard after or just want to kick the tires. And then if not, they'll move on. But I mean, I do think Jake Spavital is heavily in this deal until he's not.
All right. Fair enough. A lot to digest, but maybe the thing I like most about it, regardless of what name might turn out to be involved, is that things are happening very quickly, it sounds like. So that's a best case scenario when you're considering the timeliness of all this week. So appreciate you dropping in for some extra time, Chris, and an update. And of course, we're always just a click away with the next update. So make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you miss nothing as these things continue to develop. Chris, we'll see you for the next one.
Are you having fun with all this? Is this fun to you, or is this annoying? Is this
there's no question that this is the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Yeah, it's something. I don't know if it's fun or if it's whatever. But it is, wild times.
It's nerve-wracking, like playing cards with your brother's kids or something. There's no doubt, but that can be fun also. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you're always good for a good movie quote, man. I respect.
You got me on the edge of my seat. I know that. And
Yeah.
For a time of the season where if you're not in the conference championship game, maybe you're looking for something to keep you entertained. It can veer towards entertainment, I think, at various points. You just hope the resolution is one that behooves your team, at the end of the day.
Because it is meaningful. That's the thing. It's like
Absolutely.
what is about to happen is extremely meaningful, because if you don't do well here, and then based on the timing, if you don't do well in about 5 to 6 days when that period opens with the portal, it absolutely is affects conversations that we will be having next August, September, October, and the like. And as Joey told the audience this morning, folks, I really like my job. I'd kind of like to keep it. So there you go. But we'll keep bringing it to you as we know it, and we'll kind of see. But you could sell me a lot of this, and I would certainly buy it. But who the heck really knows how this is all going to play out? But trying to do the best we can here.
All right. Appreciate you guys being out there. As always, thanks to the everydayers for being ready. When you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So just be that way as we move through this. For Chris, I'm Casey, and we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.